Welcome. So let's talk about the feeling of being stuck with your career. So I've had series and series of conversations with career professionals where they feel like stuck. In a particular instance, I've had recently a couple of conversations where people are saying, I am in this particular career line and there it doesn't look like there's a way out of it. It feels like I've gotten to a point where the highest I can see for this particular career path is being probably a manager of a team. And I do not see my clear path to leadership. I do not see my clear path to being an executive. I do not see a clear path to becoming a board member, or just basically you see the guys at the top, but it does not look like people at the top do not look like people who have had your kind of career journey. So I've had a couple of people asking me, what do I do in that situation? And there were a couple of instances as well where I was given options where people will tell me, do I need to transition? Do I need to leave what I like to do? What would my advice be in that sort of situation? Now, I have got a couple of points regarding you feeling stuck, especially it being your career, it being career path motivated, not necessarily because you're doing something wrong, but because the career path you've chosen, it doesn't look like there is good representation at the leadership level. At the leadership level, it doesn't look like there is good representation there. Now, this would be my advice if you feel that way or you think that that cannot work. Number one, you feel like that because the sample you're looking at, or the population of the people you're looking at, is not large. So you're only looking at a few set of people. You're looking at your own organization and you're looking at the guys at the top. How did their career path look like? And you have sort of then restricted it to just those guys, and you're kind of thinking that if I do not have the same career path as these guys have, then I'm not going to get to the top. And that is not correct. So I need you to expand on your population or your sample. So I want you to take some out of sample considerations. In this case, I have personally seen people who started their careers as front desk personnel or as a receptionist, for instance, and they rose to the top up to the point of being CEOs of organizations. So it does not matter your career path, where you are in that line, there is always a way to get to the top. But I have a couple of tips for you. Number one, the first thing you should think about is not transitioning, changing what you're currently doing, especially if you enjoy what you're doing. The first thing is not to change it. The first thing you need to think about is this. The only reason why someone will call you to the table in leadership is if you understand the business and you have value to give. So right there where you are, think about doing that work you're doing right now. Think about doing it well. Okay, think about doing it well. If you're leading a group of people, make sure that you're delivering excellence. Make sure that you're talking about quality of delivery and there is no massive issues coming out of your work that you're doing. It's a starting point. Make sure that you're excellent at the work that you're doing. The next thing I'm going to say to you is think visibility. And that is basically, how can I become more visible in this organization? Obviously, you're doing your work well means you know your work. A lot more people need to know that you know your work and you know how to do it well. And that is what you're basically gunning for. So you think visibility. I am the head of this marketing team. How then do I make more important people within the organization see the work that I am doing? So think visibility. Think about how you can be put in the faces of the people who matter. I will also talk to you about value chain. You need to understand the value chain in your organization. So, for instance, if you are a customer representative, for instance, or you are the head of those who ensure that customers are satisfied, one of the things you want to think about is the product that you're selling to the customer. Do you understand that product? So you need to understand the value chain, how the product is put together, the sort of product you're selling. Are there other options on the table? How can we deliver better quality to the client? How do we get more clients? So you think marketing, you think sales, you think product management, you think project management, up until it gets to what you're doing. So I'm not saying that you should begin to do the work of other people. I'm saying you need to understand the whole value chain rather than just basically sticking to your own unit, being silo focused, silo thinking and all of that. So you want to think about the full value chain. Do I understand the product we're even selling to the customer? Do I understand the product? You need to get to that point. And then are there other options? Are there things I need to know from start to finish? Are there things that I do not understand about my organization? You want to understand the organization, you want to understand the products that you deliver, you want to understand, because if you do understand the business, it is even easier for you to deliver value to your organization, and it is so easy for you to be called to the table. Okay, it is so much easier for you to be called into leadership because you understand it. So it is not a matter of, I feel like my career there is a ceiling above my career. That's not it. Think more broadly about the organization. Another thought that's coming to my mind is this: you need to be talking about your ambition to those you think would help you. So, for instance, you want to be part of leadership. You want to grow into leadership. You cannot see the path does not mean the path is not there. The fact that someone else has not done it does not mean you cannot do it. But you need to understand the dynamics and the nuances around it. And the only way for you to do that is for you to be talking to those who can give you the right answers. So you need to be talking about your ambition. For instance, you think that the most anybody within your level, within your organization has gotten to in your unit is being a manager, for instance. You can start talking to those in leadership about how do I move from being a manager to being a senior manager, for instance? Or how can I move from being a senior manager to becoming a VP, for instance? And what are the things that I need to do? And what do you want to see me demonstrate that takes me and brings me into that picture? Another thing I want you to think about deeply is how you basically talk in meetings. It is so important, because the leaders of an organization, or the future leaders of an organization, are those who consistently deliver value and ask the right questions. So it shows that you're knowledgeable and you have something to bring to the table. So you need to think about asking questions when you get to meetings, asking meaningful, impactful questions and contributing with impact in mind. So don't go to meet. You are a leader. You don't need to wait for someone to ask you, or what are your thoughts? You share your thoughts without being asked, because you're interested in the business and you want to see the business grow. So don't go to meetings. Keep mute throughout the meetings. Nobody's seeing you, cameras off, nobody feels you're there. In the last couple of minutes, nobody knows you were there. All of that is not going to allow you grow. So think going forward, every single meeting you attend, think about how you can deliver impact. Think about how you can ask the right questions. Think about how you can sort of say, okay, now there is this big project that is going on. How can I help? How can my team help? How can we add more value? Have we thought about A, B, C, D, E? Are there reports we can generate that will give more insights? Are there stakeholders that we need their buy-ins? Ask the right questions and be involved. Don't go to meetings, keep quiet, and think that when it is time to make decisions about those who will be in leadership, that you'll be called. So, and it starts from every single meeting. It doesn't matter whether you are leading the meeting or it is a meeting of all of the leads or managers or whatever. Make sure that you're known to add value. Okay, so when you're thinking about leadership in that sense, you do not necessarily need. So for instance, I've seen people who were basically whose line is totally different, and they were looking for maybe head of HR, for instance, or they were looking for maybe head of one brand new unit that has been created to form, to piece things together, or they were looking for even a COO, for instance, and they'll be like, this person is so good at making sure that things get done in their unit and they contribute to the overall excellent delivery of tasks and whatever across different units. Why can't they be the COO? I mean, if they are supported enough, we think they can deliver it and we can train this person or whatever. That is how people move from varying degrees of career paths into others, so you can transition through promotion, but you need to be able to show that you are qualified for it. Okay, so I'm just trying to write down something now which I'm going to talk about now, and that is basically developing yourself. And a lot of people think, oh, for me to be part of leadership, I need to go do an MBA. For me to be part of leadership, I need to go do my master's program. That is not an automatic answer. It does help, but that's not an automatic answer. In the case of your organization specifically, the master's program you're going for may not necessarily be speaking to the impact that is expected of you for you to be promoted into leadership. And that is the truth. It is the practical contribution that you have towards the organization that guarantees your seat at the table. So a lot of people almost always think school. That is not essentially the solution in all cases. That is why you need to develop yourself. And this has to be part of a lifestyle that you have developed for yourself. Studying, reading, when reports go across your table, don't skim through every single report. You do not know anything in detail. Read. Okay, start reading. Read books on human psychology. Read books on technical areas of your work. Read books about leadership. Read books on history if you're interested in it. Read books about how businesses are put together. Read books about law. Read. Just keep reading. Read, so that you can know how businesses operate and thrive. Not just about what you do in your own silo team. You need to be detailed in terms of your own technical work and be a generalist across other spectrum, across the value chain, such that in every single situation you are able to contribute meaningfully. Those are the things that can guarantee you a seat at the table. You must continue to develop yourself, and you must have a calendar for personal growth and development. I cannot stress this enough. You must have a calendar for personal growth and development. You can say on the weekends, 2 hours every weekend, 1 hour every weekend, I will read A, B, C, D, E when it comes to my work. I'll also talk about the impact of coaches and mentors on your career. So before you start saying there is no room for me at the top, have you exhausted opportunities to get mentored? Have you exhausted opportunities to get coaching? Have you onboarded a sponsor at work? Have you onboarded a coach that can help you? This can be through paid service or unpaid service. Have you onboarded people that can really truly help you and help you think through some things that you have not thought about? Okay, so think more broadly around all of these things, and they will definitely help you. Now, the impact of career coaches or career mentors is to help you see what you cannot see yourself, just because in the perspective of their work, they're trained to do it, and otherwise they have a lot of people in your situation that they help get through similar situation, and they should be able to help you. to a large extent. Make the right decisions for yourself. So onboard a sponsor at work. This is basically someone that you can learn from, and someone that can really say your name in leadership meetings and all of that. Someone who basically trusts you to be able to get to that point where you get into leadership. Okay. And then onboard mentors, people you look up to that are doing the same thing that you're trying to do. Don't shy away. Don't run away from people that are doing the same thing you're trying to do. Stay with them. Okay. Stay with them and get the best that you can get out of them. Now, I'm going to sort of circle back to the initial points that I made about you not just thinking about transitioning or changing your career path just because you do not see yourself going beyond a manager grade. You can create opportunities for yourself through your development. So, for instance, you could actually be in a meeting, you could make a suggestion in that meeting, and they could take the suggestion so seriously, the company can decide to invest in it. And they will be like, since you came up with that idea, come and run the show. And you could basically create an office for yourself because of that. And that can take you from where you are into a place where you could possibly thrive. But if you're not developing yourself, it means you will not have enough answers. It means you will not have enough questions. And it means you will not have enough value to deliver, such that you then begin to get nominated or recommended for positions that you would truly have loved. I hope this video has really sort of helped you think through a couple of things you sort of need to start considering when it comes to you feeling stuck right now in your career. Thank you very much for staying with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.